Good morning and welcome to today's reading, Stone Soup by Marcia Brown. I am excited. I hope you are too. This one is a classic. I hope you enjoy it. Yes, Stone Soup. Get ready. Good morning to you who has joined us. Good morning. Welcome and get ready for Stone Soup by Marcia Brown. Please let us know who you are and where you're from. Happy Tuesday to you. It looks a little bit nice and the sun is coming out right here in Auckland. So I hope wherever you are, it is also a pleasant day. Good morning to you, everybody that is joining in. Good morning to you, Isabella, and good morning to you, Leslie. Thank you so much for joining us today. All right, and good morning to you, Luis, and good morning to you, Danny. Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Yes, buenos dias. And good morning to you, Rocco and Clay. How are you doing out in Long Beach? Glad you could join in. Yes. Good morning to you, Leon, and good morning to you, Mateo. How are you doing today? Awesome. And good morning to you, Anders, right here in Auckland. How are you doing? And good morning to you, Ingrid. Good morning to you, Naima. How are you doing today? And good morning to you, Nia. And good morning to you, little Cairo. All right. And good morning to you, Absa. How are you doing today? Good morning to you, Maria Antonia. How are you doing today? So glad you could join us. Yes. Good morning to you, Quincy. Yeah, how are you doing today? Yes, joining us from Marin. Nice. And good morning to you, Ellen in Chicago. Yes, we're about to serve up some stone soup. I hope you will enjoy it. I am ready. Chef Mr. Limada is ready today to serve up some stone soup. Good morning to you, Maria Clara. How are you doing today? Lio and William, I hope you are hungry and ready for stone soup. How are you doing? Good morning to you, Langston. How are you doing today, buddy? And good morning to you, Jess. Good morning to you, Steve. And good morning to you, Tyler. I hope you're bringing your hungry stomachs today because we are having stone soup. And good morning to you, Nora and Olive. Good morning. Where are you joining us from? Please let me know where you are joining us from. Is this my olive oil or is this a new olive in the house? Good morning to you. Good morning, Langston. Much appreciated, buddy. Good morning to you. Oh, Lisa, you say Emmett is here. Good morning to you, Emmett. How are you doing? And is this Emmett joining us from Auckland? Good morning to you. And Emmett, good morning to your grandma, Martha. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Yes. Awesome. Glenn and Louise, good morning to you. Joining us all the way. Is it Louise or Louise? Joining us all the way from Livermore. Good morning to you. Yes, Glenn and Louise. Thank you so much. Glad you could join in story time today. Yummy indeed, Steve. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Yes, ready for stone soup. Ellie and Susie and Lucy, thank you so much for joining us today. All right, and to you, Ishmaela, good morning. Yes, Zaire, good morning. That makes it two of us. I love stone soup too. Wyatt, right here in Auckland. Good morning to you. All right, this is a new olive all the way out in Hayward. Well, good morning to you and welcome. Actually, I went to school in Hayward, so yay, go Pioneers. And good morning to you, Lacey. How are you doing today? Wow, and good morning to you, AJ, joining us from Savannah, Georgia. Well, good morning to you. Welcome. Thank you so much. Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you. And good morning to you, Ellie, Susie, and Lucy, you say hi. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Good morning to you too, Zaire. Maya and Raven in the house. Good morning to you. Yes, so glad you could join in. Oh, Ishmaela, you're saying you're in New York. Well, good morning to you. Is it still morning out there? Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much. So glad you're joining us. And good morning to you, Lacey, right here in Auckland. Yes, good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, Owen, Ada, Stefan, and Ilya, good morning to you right here in Auckland, joining us for Stone Soup. Awesome. So glad you could join in. Good morning to you, everybody, from wherever you're joining us from. And if you're watching this reading after the recording, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome. Enjoy the story. Yes, 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 yes. Good morning. Thank you so much, Owen. Thank you, Ada. No, Zaire, this is a special concoction. You will be fine. No getting sick from this stone soup. Good morning, good morning. All right, it is almost time for us to get started. And yes, just before then, let's just go through a few announcements that we have today. And of course, a big shout out to Isis Rain, who's joining us for the first time today. Good morning to you. And of course, good morning to 6-year-old Emmett, who's joining us right here from Auckland. And good morning to your grandma, Martha. I'm so glad you guys got in touch and you are joining us right here today. All right, and please keep those recommendations coming, book recommendations coming, and we will read them right here on Storytime for you. Yes, and Ada and Owen, big thank you to you for the list of recommendations that you sent us. I appreciate that. And of course, this week we are lucky enough to read one of the books that you recommended. So very happy about that. And good morning to you, Miss Veda. Thank you so much. Glad you could join in. Tidied, Miss Veda. You're tidied today. All right, here's a few fun facts about food. Since we were reading Stone Soup and we're going to be talking about potatoes. Did you know, kids, that there's a whole museum dedicated to potatoes? It is the Idaho Potato Museum. I didn't know that. But I'm sure some of you did, and if you did not know, well, now you know. There's a museum, it's called the Idaho Potato Museum. And according to them, they say potatoes are grown in all the 50 states of the United States. And they are grown in 125 of the 195 countries of the world. Pretty cool. And did you know that a potato is 80% water and 20% solid? How about that? I know my brain was blown too. Awesome. So glad you could join in. There's just quick facts about food, potatoes in particular. So now let's get ready and enjoy Stone Soup by Marcia Brown. All right, so this story is told and pictured and pictures by Marcia Brown. Stone Soup. 3 soldiers trudged down a road in a strange country. They were on their way home from the wars. Besides being tired, they were hungry. In fact, they had eaten nothing for 2 whole days. Would you survive, kids? How I would like a good dinner tonight, said the first soldier. And a bed to sleep in, said the second. But all that is impossible, said the third. We must march on. On they marched. Suddenly, ahead of them, they saw the lights of a village. There was hope after all. Maybe we will find a bite to eat there, said the first. And a loft to sleep in, said the second. Well, no harm in asking, said the third. Now the peasants of that place feared strangers. When they heard that 3 soldiers were coming down the road, they talked among themselves. They whispered to each other, "What are we going to do? We have these strangers coming to our village." "Here come 3 soldiers. Soldiers are always hungry, but we have little enough for ourselves." And they hurried to hide their food. They pushed sacks of barley under the hay in the lofts. They lowered buckets of milk down the wells. They spread out quilts over the carrot bins. They hid their cabbages and potatoes under their beds. They hung their meat in their cellars. They hid all they had to eat, and then they waited patiently. The soldiers stopped first at the house of Paul and Francois. "Good evening to you," they said. "Could you spare a bit of food for 3 hungry soldiers?" "We have had no food for ourselves for 3 days," said Paul. Francois made a sad face. "It has been a poor harvest." The 3 soldiers went on to the house of Albert and Louise. "Could you spare a bit of food? And have you some corner where we could sleep for the night?" "Oh no," said Albert. "We gave all we could spare to the soldiers who came before you." "Our beds are full," said Louise. At Vincent and Marie's, the answer was the same. It had been a poor harvest, and all the grain must be kept for seed. So it went all through the village. Not a peasant had any to give away. They all had good reasons. One family had used the grain for feed. Another had an old sick father to care for. All had too many mouths to feed. What were the soldiers going to do? The villagers stood in the street and sighed. They looked as hungry as they could. The 3 soldiers whispered to each other. They talked. What are we going to do? Then the first soldier called out, "Good people!" The peasants drew near. What is happening? "We are 3 hungry soldiers in a strange land. We have asked you for food and you have no food. Well then, we will have to make stone soup." The peasants stared at each other. Stone soup? That would be something to know about. "First, we will need a large iron pot," the soldiers said. The peasants brought the largest pot they could find. "How else to cook enough?" "That's none too large," said the soldiers, "but it will do. And now, water to fill it and a fire to heat it." It took many buckets of water to fill the pot. A fire was built on the village square and the pot was set to boil. And now, if you please, 3 round, smooth stones. Those were easy enough to find. The peasants' eyes grew round as they watched the soldiers drop the stones into the pot one at a time. "Any soup needs salt and pepper," said the soldiers as they began to stir. Children ran to fetch salt and pepper. Stones like these generally make good soup, but oh, if there were carrots, it would be much better. Why, I think I have a carrot or two, said Francois, and off she ran. She came back with her apron full of carrots from the bin beneath the red quilt. As a good stone soup should have cabbage, said the soldiers as they sliced the carrots into the pot. But no use asking for what you don't have. I think I could find a cabbage somewhere, said Marie, and she hurried home. Back she came with 3 cabbages from the cupboard under the bed. If we only had a bit of beef and a few potatoes, this soup would be good enough for a rich man's table. The peasants thought that over. They remembered their potatoes and the sides of beef hanging in the cellars. They ran to fetch them. A rich man's soup, and all from a few stones? It seemed like magic. Ah, sighed the soldiers as they stirred in the beef and potatoes. If we only had a little barley and a cup of milk, this soup would be fit for the king himself. The peasants looked at each other. The soldiers had entertained the king? Well, but no use asking for what you don't have, the soldiers sighed. The peasants brought their barley from the lofts. They brought their milk from the wells. The soldiers stirred the barley and milk into the steaming broth while the peasants watched them. Are you getting hungry like I am? Yeah. At last, the soup was ready. All of you shall taste, the soldiers said, but first a table must be set. Great tables were placed in the square, and all around were lighted torches. Such a soup, how good it smelled, truly fit for a king. But then the peasants asked themselves, would not such a soup require bread, a roast, and maybe some cider? Soon a banquet was spread, and everyone sat down to eat. Never had there been such a feast. Never had the peasants tasted such soup. And fancy that, made from stones. They ate and drank, and ate and drank, and after that, they danced. They danced and sung far into the night. At last they were tired. Then the 3 soldiers asked, is there not a loft where we could sleep? Let 3 such wise and splendid gentlemen sleep in a loft. Indeed, they must have the best beds in the village. And so it went. So the first soldier slept at the priest's house, and the second soldier slept in the baker's house, and the third soldier slept at the mayor's house. How about that? In the morning, the whole village gathered in the square to give them a send-off. Many thanks for what you have taught us, the peasants said to the soldiers. We shall never go hungry now that we know how to make soup from stones. Oh, it's all in knowing how, said the soldiers, and off they went down the road. Such men don't grow on every bush, thought the peasants as the soldiers were walking away. The end. Well, kids, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. And there you go. You have it. The recipe for a good stone soup. So make it at home and be sure to read this book with your family. Yes, and invite me when you have that stone soup dinner. And I will bring potatoes. Why not? Thank you so much for joining in, everybody. And let's just go back and see who else has joined us from that time. Last time we looked at our messages. Yes, good morning to you, Miss Veda. Yes, let's go to Idaho. Potato Museum of Idaho. How about that? And good morning to you. Good morning to you, Isabel. Good morning. How are you doing today? Good morning, Mateo. Joy, good morning to you, joining us from Long Beach. How are you and how is Kuma? Good morning to you, Miss Champion. Yes, our very own champion. How are you doing today? Good to see that you're joining us. Good morning to you, Antoinette. And I think you're joining us with Asia, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you, Maria, joining us from El Sobrante. How are you today? Awesome. Great to see you. Maria, I see you have a message for me there. I'll get to it right after the show. And good morning to you, Jesiah. How are you doing? Joining us from Oakland. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And good morning to you, Zaire Leilani. How are you doing today? Thank you so much. I'm so glad you could join in. And Olive Oil in the house. Good morning to you. And Olive, you might want to know you have a namesake today joining us as well. Good morning to you both, Olives. And good morning to you, Lacey. Yes, thank you everybody for joining in. And good morning to you, Shamrin. I'm so glad you could join in. Yes, yes, yes. Good morning, everybody. It is indeed a yummy book. I agree with you, Zaire. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Good to know Kuma is doing great. And good morning to you, Amber Charlotte. You're joining us right here on Storytime today. Please let us know where you are. Otherwise, everybody, that's all we had for you today. Thank you so much. But tomorrow, we are back right here on Storytime, 10:30 Pacific time, with another exciting story. And remember, tomorrow is Earth Day, and we're reading a special book called Meet Me at the Moon. Meet Me at the Moon. This was a recommendation from Owen and Ada. Thank you so much for sending this book. Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody that is joining in. And thank you so much. Please find our stories, recorded stories on our Facebook page, recorded stories on our YouTube channel, and also on Instagram. So please be sure to find our stories there and join us live 10:30 right here Pacific time every weekday. Thank you so much. All right, that is it from me today. Much love to you, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.